All right, shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all for being in the screen, man. Coming back at you. Well, another one. Much love to the fam on this one, man. A quick report, kind of following up from the earlier stream, family. To complete it, the Saints announced the remaining portions of the deal. We reported during the recap stream that the Saints, after the game, defensive tackle Khalen Saunders, who they acquired a couple years ago, now they've sent him to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and now we got the full completed trade to talk about. So let's get right into it. Jags have acquired veteran tackle Khalen Saunders from the New Orleans Saints for veteran center Luke Fortner. According to league sources confirmed by ESPN, the interior of the defensive line has been an issue for the Jags the last 2 years. The team was optimistic to shore up the tackle spots with veteran Eric Armstead, who moved back inside, and second-year player Mason Smith. However, Armstead has been dealing with a back injury and is yet to practice, and Smith suffered a lower body injury prior to camp. So the veteran tackle Devon Hamilton had not been the same player he was since he suffered a back infection in the preseason. So Saunders, entering his seventh campaign, with New Orleans, spent the time with us, they decided to pull the trigger and get Bink Saunders, 6 feet, 324-pounder. As you can see, Bink Saunders tweet right here. He's going to Jags. Now, he started for the Saints in the preseason game against the Jags. He played okay, while Saints defensive tackle Nate Shepard did not see action, indicating there's a chance that he, at making a 53-man roster, would be in jeopardy. Now, we talked about that in the previous stream. Remember, Saunders and Shepard was a package deal between the two of those guys. So when you see it fail miserably, to be honest with you, they were not nearly as effective as the two guys that were prior to them. It was David Onyemata and King Tut, Shy Tut. So it's one of those things where it just didn't work out, and the Saints ultimately decided that the Jaguars needed help, and they, instead of eventually leading to his release, the Saints traded him. Fortner, speaking of the player who we are getting here, Fortner was the Jaguars' third-round pick in 2022. He played every snap as a rookie. He also started every game in 2023, but he struggled, and the team replaced him in 2024 with a free agent signing Mitch Morse. Morse retired in March, and the Jags signed Robert Hensey less than a week later to be the starter. The Jags also selected center Jonah Monahan in the 7th round of April's draft, and he has been working as a second-team center. So that's the reality, is the Saints sent Khalen Saunders packing for Luke Fortner. Now, who is Luke Fortner? So let's kind of get a little breakdown on who he is as we kind of get into his scouting report to kind of talk about Luke Fortner. For the family members, 27-year-old offensive lineman who was initially drafted by the Jags. We talk about 3rd round, 65th overall, 2022. And he's about 6'4", 300-plus pounds, University of Kentucky, 4-year NFL experience. See his measurements there. We talk about his strengths. This is a player profile scouting report. His strengths, versatility. Fortner has some starting experience at both guard positions, also center, make him an invaluable asset for the team needing depth across the interior offensive line. Football IQ and leadership. He's praised for his intelligence and ability to make calls, adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Fortner also served as the team captain at Kentucky and possesses a strong off-field character. Run blocking. Fortner excels in both zone and gap power blocking schemes. He possesses good hand strength, leverages his hips well to widen lanes. He has solid quickness to engage defenders at the second level. His awareness effectively diagnoses gap exchanges and reacts quickly to twists and stunts. His weaknesses are Fortner's athleticism is considered average and may struggle to mirror quick pass rushers. Power, while strong, he may not consistently overpower large interior defensive linemen at the NFL level. He could benefit from adding more functional strength. Pass blocking. Fortner's hand timing and placement can be inconsistent, and he's occasionally overextends or oversets, creating vulnerabilities. His pass protection plan needs further development. Second level blocking. While adept at reaching the second level, Fortner sometimes struggles to sustain blocks against agile linebackers in space. So they talk about him in some of this stuff being added to his profile. He projects as a starter, and he's talking about at the NFL level. Some of this stuff is talking about him coming into college, but has transitioned from being a starter from the Jags in his first 2 seasons to a backup role. The trade to the Saints, who are looking to improve the offensive, presents a new opportunity for him. He has leadership, intelligence, and experience. It's highly valued. He has the potential to be a solid backup, similar to players like Ben Jones or Pat Elfin. However, he needs to redefine his technique, particularly in pass protection, and potentially add strength to elevate his game. This is the player the Saints end up in return for Bink Saunders, Mr. Luke Fortner. He will come in and he will be the Saints' best option at the center position. To be quite honest with you, the Saints, to be honest with you, need a veteran center. He's the best backup center we currently have. And like they said, a fresh slate could help him. He'll be a good veteran to have backing up a guy like Eric McCoy. You know, we're dealing with offensive line issues. So the Saints flip Bink Saunders into a backup center. So that's a very interesting package. So the Saints do feel a need. They really needed a backup center after Will Clapp got hurt for the year. Terry Sally Simpkins looked good, but he's still an inexperienced offensive lineman. The Saints did bring in another UFL center who didn't look all that well in the Saints game. The Saints flipped him for a veteran center. And we've been talking about adding veteran depth to the offensive line. The Saints do it via trade. So this is something that is also a positive with the Who Dat Nation. So with that being said, welcome Luke Fortner to the team. Bink Saunders, for the last 2 years, has some exciting moments as a player, but one word to describe Bink Saunders' tenure with the Saints was inconsistent, disappointing. Because we seen Bink as a guy coming over from KC who was going to really be dominant, and we didn't see none of that. We seen him get the interception. We seen some versatility there, spot play. He showed some positive stuff, but him and Nate Shepard in the center of the Saints defense, Saints got pushed around. It was just underwhelmed. So the Saints are cleaning up, and they flipped Bink Saunders, who probably wasn't going to make the cut anyway. They flipped him into a backup center. So the Saints flipped because they had a bunch of bigs there already, made a bunch of big interior defensive tackles. So they flipped Saunders to a backup center and fill a need right away. So what grade would you give this trade, fam? With Bink going out, Luke Fortner coming in. Will Clapp was hurt. Luke Fortner will be a veteran center. You really need that. So that's an improvement. He's better than any backup center you currently have on your roster. He's immediately becomes the backup center. He's already added on the Saints depth chart at the backup center position. I would say this is a positive. You have an abundance of people at the defensive line position. You take Bink, flip him to a backup center, which you need. I say that was a good trade for Kellen Moore and the Saints, and they step in the right direction of trying to improve that offensive line. They do it via trade, and we'll see as over the next couple of weeks if they continue to add help with the backup offensive line. We've been saying that a lot, that you need better backups. Maybe this is the Saints' attempt to try to appease our wishes. Anyway, with that being said, let me get some feedback from you guys. Put in the comment section below. What do you think about the Saints trade? What grade would you give it? Also tell me, do you like the trade? What grade would you give it? Do you see this as an improvement for the Saints team? So with that being said, man, listen, y'all do me a service, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We'll be back Monday to kind of talk a little bit about what's going on our Monday stream, about the latest news and notes on the Black and Gold. With that being said, I'm out. Much love. Who Dat to you?